the work, that they see them as criminals, deviants, dangerous, up to no good, or they talk about them with the they statements. They're lazy. They don't care. They don't really belong here. They're only here for the financial aid.
I'm giving you actual facts.
No, right? I'm giving you actual facts based on extensive.
And she's right. But before we go too much further, just to say, you see what he said? So he already came with some emotional damage. Like, it's so annoying. Okay.
Can discriminate against you, but there's no systemic basis to it.
But if it's becoming part of the university admission process, if it's determining hiring practices, dismissal practices in industry, is that not systemic?
You could nitpick and find little instances on both sides. But I think if you look at it as a whole, then you begin to understand where it's coming from.
Who else has a comment?
I don't even understand what that meant, what that guy said. I'm firmly against affirmative action. I'm vehemently against it. I am. I've been against it since I was a little girl. Really. Somebody explained to me what it was, and I was like, oh, no, I don't think that's a good thing. I was 7, and I kept hearing affirmative action, like I was hearing it on the show, A Different World. And I remember I asked my family member, I was like, what's that? Like, I think, okay, maybe I was like 9, right? And I was like, what is affirmative action? And they were like, oh, affirmative action is like, because you're Black, they'll make it a little easier for you to get a job or whatever. And I remember thinking like, but no, like at that age, I was like, just because I'm Black, like, I don't want that. Like, it just was something about it that just didn't feel right to me. And I've always felt that way. I'm not for affirmative action. Don't care. But anyway, Dr. Phil is tackling some of these racial issues in our country because, there's that, right? And so let's see how that goes.
Yes, sir, in the back.
My name is Dan. And I think it's great that you try to fix some of the inequities that have happened in the past. But I don't think it should jump to the front of the line when you're going to college or you're trying to get a job. I think it's important that we address it very early on, where a lot of the major issues are happening in the families of some of the ones that are maybe disadvantaged, or if they're having trouble in school, it started at the elementary school level, where once they get to the admissions process or get to a job interview, it's based on your merit.
Candace, are we compromising standards if we do that because we haven't fixed the problem down the line?
That's correct. It is. The policies are harmful also to the people that they purport to help. And we have all of the evidence there to look at. When you artificially place a Black American into a school in which they do not belong based on their knowledge, doesn't mean that they go on to get A's. In fact, there was a Black adjunct professor, you guys have definitely heard of him, Dr. Thomas Sowell, who was teaching at Cornell University, and he found that the majority of the Black American students that were there were on academic probation. Now, these students were some of the smartest in the nation, but because they were artificially placed amongst their peers at Cornell University, they were failing on academic probation. These policies have never helped Black Americans. It's just basically policies that are put in place to make people feel good, right? I feel like I'm doing something when in fact I'm actually creating harm. You either know the answers or you don't.
When you say,
and that's just it. And now he's about to go ahead and get soy boy. I mean, first of all, we could already look like there's a thing about mixed race people that I personally think that they have borderline personality disorder, right? But that's just like a whole different thing. Listen, I have mixed race in my family. I'm not like actually like I have mixed race, but I'm mixed a little bit, but not, nothing worth even talking about, right? But it's just still like, look. It is what it is, okay? But she just made an amazing point. By the way, guys, if you like the video, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell. Thank you so much for everybody who watches. She made the point. That is the point. It's like we need to stop putting Band-Aids on these wounds, and on these deep wounds, and we just put Band-Aids and say this is a W. It's not a W. If the kids are coming from schools, by the way, that are passing them, the schools that aren't teaching them, because the classes are so disruptive because nobody got control over the schools and then everything, and they don't know how to read or whatever, and then now they get to go to some special college because it's always taught to them that, like, college means success. Yeah, my baby's going to college, but then your baby can't even, like, your baby can't produce, like, can't function in the classes because they're not placed in the class that's even interesting to them. I mean, what? This baby's gonna go to class for, to school for what? Like law or something. Maybe they're not interested in that, right? Like, and it's okay not to be interested in that. I thought I was gonna be a lawyer. I'm a nurse, right? So It's okay. That just might not be the thing that places that's for them. But there's a slot and we have to fill up quotas. People aren't quotas. People are not quotas. If you want to help people out, you should start at the beginning point. Yes. And it should be a class system thing. That's what it should be. It does not have to keep being about this race thing. Because it innately, to me, I'm going to keep it real. It says that black people need help the whole way through, from beginning to end. Like, come on. And these are not people who came from this kind of stock, right? Like this, I need, like, gimme, gives me that. Like, it's not, these aren't who I thought they were, right? But let's go ahead and listen to, because you already can look at the afro, the hardcore, like, needs to be blackety black. He's about to go ahead and say something that's going to probably annoy me, but let's get into it.
Hey, we have black students at a particular school who aren't performing at that school as well. The immediate assumption that you're making is, well, maybe it's because they're not smart enough, they're not good enough, or they don't belong here. Whereas it could be about the experience that they're having at that institution. Professors who believe that they're not intelligent enough, that they don't have the capability to do the work, that they see them as criminals, deviants, dangerous, up to no good, or they talk about them with the they statements. They're lazy, they don't care, they don't really belong here. They're only here for the financial aid.
I'm giving you actual facts.
No, I'm giving you actual facts based on extensive
you can say, well, maybe they
research
just
that's
don't
been
feel
done.
good. But that's not the case. I mean, I went to university. I did not feel good, right? I didn't pull the best grades in high school, probably got into a better university than I should have gotten into based on my performance in high school. It wasn't because of my feelings. It's because I wasn't focused on it. And that, we're talking about a cultural problem, what's going on back at home, as was in my circumstance. And none of that is because of institutionalized policy.
Now, hold on. And she's right. But before we go too much further, just to say, you see what he said? So he already came with some emotional damage. Like, it's so annoying. Okay, I'm going to keep it real with you. It took me a minute to get out of LPN school. Like, it took me, I had to repeat 2 levels. There was no reason why I had to repeat 2 levels. The only reason why I had to repeat 2 levels was because I was being lazy and I wasn't ambitious. Period. I didn't feel like it. That's it. And I thought that I could just do the bare minimum to pass. Right? When I went back for my RN, it was totally different. I was an adult living on my own, and I was like, oh, no, one and done. One and done. And it was work, right? The point is, what he's saying, like, oh, you're going to say, oh, it might be that they're not smart enough or whatever, but it might be the way the teachers are treated. Yo, listen, let me tell you something. Life is not fair. Okay, it's not easy, it's not fun. Everybody's not gonna, hey, let's give Tyrone a trophy because he woke up and put his clothes on today. Hey, Casey, you get to have a free coffee because you came to work. No, this isn't life. Okay, life is discipline, right? Life is discipline, and then you make your good times and stuff like that. But if we have to keep on bending everything just to make it easy for you, and then you turn around and now you have an entitled attitude, where is this country going to go? Where is it going to go? We've already changed so many rules based on we don't want to be mean to black people, right? So where's it going?
It almost seems like you guys refuse to accept that, black students aren't performing well. You feel like you have to have this burden of responsibility when, in fact, if you actually wanted to help, you would look at the facts, re-examine the fact that it's not helping anybody. It's not helping black Americans to artificially place them into universities, and you'd make effective change.
But you're making the assumption that black students are academically inferior, and they're not.
No,
they're some of our most brilliant students that we have.
Basic. No. That you are making the assumption that they're inferior.
You just said that they don't belong there.
Policies. I'm talking about the students that are based on the policies that you are defending right now, saying that we should have these policies that let them into these universities, not based on their skill set, but based on the color of their skin. So you are assuming that they are inferior.
Do you have a story or?
She's right the way how she broke it down to him. Again, like, these clips are so, and I swear he does it on purpose. Where's this guy's face? There he goes. Never mind. It's just so annoying. Meanwhile, because I'm just trying to get his face. Yeah. So meanwhile, right? Like, she's right. It's already the assumption they're going to need help. They're not going to know how to do it. Let's take a slot away from somebody who actually worked extra hard and give it to the black person. I don't know why that's so, I don't know why that's so controversial to notice that that's happening and to say that it's happening. Again, I do not want those kind of handouts, bro. Like, I don't. And when I realized that this is why they were asking for race and stuff like that on applications and everything, I stopped putting black on there. I was like, oh, I didn't know. Because nope, I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't need it. I don't. If I didn't measure up, then I didn't measure up. I didn't. And that's it. And I should have measured up. This is normal, basic thinking. This isn't even trailblazing what I'm saying. It's not even so exciting what I'm saying. It's just normal thinking. And still to now, you'll have black people defending DEI. And I'm like, oh, why do you want policies based on forced integration? That's what I call it. It's like forced inclusivity. Once it's not organic, it's forced. It is. And why would you want to take away? Like, if I can only let 10 people in, but I have to make sure I let 4 black people in, 2 black women, at some point and then at some point too, as a black person, you get to the bottom of the line, because don't worry, have they added the trans into the quotas yet? Because the affirmative action, to be honest, it is for everybody. But black folk defend it so much, but then they'll be like, oh no, it's the white women who get it more or whatever, but you defend it so much. So it's for you. You've made this your thing. I don't know why. Because you're not dumb. We need to deal with the root causes of issues, okay? Somebody who didn't feel like studying back in in not even elementary, like high school and stuff like that, 9 times out of 10, they're probably not gonna feel like studying in college, right? Especially in this day and age. She kind of got herself together, right? But these kids today, they are coming up a lot more entitled. They don't feel like putting in the hard work. So this is not a good system at all. And later on, there was a Supreme Court ruling that kind of got rid of it, but not really. I think it's still in certain places. So, but I don't think that this helps anybody, just like Candace says. I'll see you guys at the next one.